welcome back. I'm Pastor Joe Fox. Welcome to Viking Preparedness. Welcome to Shofar Mountain. I can kind of hear some of you all now based on my last video where I told people to blend in, right? And you're saying, hey, don't you know what the Word says? And, you know, I'm talking to primarily right now Hebrew Israelites, Torah observant folk, but also to a degree, you know, very conservative, modest Christians, okay? Heck, maybe even some Islamics. But people are going, hey, you know, we're a peculiar people. We're called to be in the world, but not of the world. We're not supposed to be like everybody else. We're not supposed to eat like everybody else. Pastor Fox, what are you talking about? Do you think I know that? Come on. Of course I know that. You know, most of the people who watch my videos aren't exactly like me belief-wise. And so I put out stuff that is helpful to a vast majority of people. To those of you who are like, well, I don't want to look like everybody else and eat like everybody else. Okay. Hey, take what is good, hold on to that, and get rid of everything else. You know, chew the meat, spit out the bones. But let's talk about that a little bit. You know, if you picture the average Israelite woman, right? She's got a head covering on, a dress or a skirt, and for her to try and blend in, if she's like, let's say she's 26, right, to try and blend into the Walmart crowd, that could be difficult. But it's not as difficult as you think, and it's probably not as difficult as some of y'all would make it. What do we say? You know, and again, if you comment on this and say, where does that come from? I'm not going there. You know, you either get this part or you don't, and I'm mostly talking to people who dress modestly, okay? And so, you know, we're not going to justify it later. I'm talking to those of you who get it. Let's just take a 26-year-old woman. You know, she's wearing like a skirt or a dress, some top that covers her shoulders. She has a head covering on, right? Now, I've seen some women who take that and they're wearing like this skin-tight kind of, you know, silky kind of covering, and it's all tight up on their chest, and you know, but they're covered and they're modest, and then they have this head covering on that it looks like they spent 3 hours putting on their head to get these knots and these twists and these wraps just right, you know, so that they can be modest. Really? Is that modest? Is that modest? You know, think about the average what I think of when I think of the average nun. You know, they're wearing kind of like a plain khaki skirt, some kind of plain blouse, and a very simple bandana head covering. That's modest, right? When you spend 3 hours getting spruced up so you look good, that's not modest. It's not, right? You're telling people, look at me. The whole aspect of modesty is don't look at me. And so there's that. You know, you could just as easily wear a khaki skirt or a jean skirt, a regular blouse, and put your hair in some kind of wrap or hat or bandana or something like that, and you're modest, right? And you're out there and you're not drawing a whole lot of attention to yourself. And so that is a way to blend into the culture. If you want to make a statement and have your hair all whoop, you know, like that and all that stuff, and your little, you know, stuff, yeah, you go walking into Walmart around here, people are going to notice. That might not be a good thing. So it's just something to think about. Same thing with guys, you know. Yeah, I mean, it's not quite as much with guys because, you know, we don't really care as much, but you know, you can look super Hebrew, you know, and walk around and get some looks that you don't really have to, you know. I don't wear a kippah. I don't find it biblically required. I understand why people do. But let's say you believe that you've got to keep your head covered as a man. Okay, well, you can keep your head covered with a baseball hat, right? It's still covered. You're still blending in. And so there are ways to do this, and there are ways not to do it. And everything's a trade-off, right? You know, sometimes we are called to be separate and peculiar and to get persecution for that. Okay, but the thrust of my 2 videos before this were how to blend in and make your life a little bit easier in the short term. So, you know, take what you can use, discard the rest, think about it, pray about it. I'll see you out there.